Teachers of Reddit, what are your worst experiences with helicopter parents? I currently have a 6th grade student whose stepmother emails me on a daily basis. Good kid A in my class, no behavior problems, but yet I've had 94 emails from her this year, last I checked. Typically they are completely unnecessary and I just want to ask her, do you ever talk to your son? He could clearly answer 95% of her questions. Yet she still sends me emails asking things like, what was the situation that caused them to be marked tardy to your class? And, there is an assignment in the gradebook marked with a 00. It's titled Extra Credit Bonus Points. Please advise on how this will affect his grade. Just to show you how bananas this woman is, I looked at her kid's profile to see how many times she went in and updated his profile. It shows that, since August, she has checked his grades 717 times. Holy hell. Your kid is 12, cut the cord and teach him personal responsibility. He's probably going to be one of those kids that turns into a hardcore rebel in high school because she won't give him any space. Part of me is glad to see a stepmother so involved. Part of me is like, dude, if you let go just a little, he'll show you amazing abilities. Exactly. Regarding that, it's his stepmom. Knowing how 6th grade boys can sometimes talk to their parents, I imagine at some point he yelled at her, "You're not my real mom," or something along those lines. She then became the most overcompensating woman on the planet. We pulled a child who was allergic to eggs out of a lab in which egg shells were broken down by vinegar. Then the eggs were placed in hypertonic solutions to illustrate cell membrane action. The parent flipped a shit that his child missed 2 lab periods, although we'd prepared handouts, gone over the relevant info with the kid, and sent him along to the library so he wouldn't die of anaphylactic shock. Geez, we're trying to save your kid's life here. 2 lab periods in the 7th grade won't make a big diff. During my student teaching, I had a student whose mother was the definition helicopter parent. He was supposedly gifted, so she made sure to inform us we were wrong in our grading if he received anything less than an A. She would come in every morning and unpack his backpack for him. If she was there for lunch, she would spoon feed him. This was a 3rd grader. My aunt works in the housing department at UW-Madison. She once fielded a call from a woman who wanted to know who would be making her daughter's bed and how much they would be charging. I believe my aunt and her coworkers decided $200 a week was a high enough price to get the lady to fuck off, but she agreed to pay it. No idea what happened next. Hopefully there's a happy ending and some broke-ass kid got $200 a week making some rich girl's bed. Oh, I would clean her sheets for $200 a week. Clean her sheets real good. 1,040,000 cents a year for making a bed. Some people have way too much money. I'm not a teacher, but I work in student affairs at a college, and we had a parent who called the president of the college because her daughter had not called her back in 12 hours. The student had gone out with friends the night before and forgotten her cell phone, so her mom called the school in a panic the next morning wanting us to track down her daughter. I hate to say this, but my mom did this. I have never been so embarrassed in my life. Don't worry, we mostly judge the parents and feel sorry for the students in cases like this. There's not much you can do if your parents are crazy. A friend of mine called her mother every fucking time she went to class, after she got out of class, after she ate breakfast, lunch, dinner, and before going to bed. If she didn't call, her parents were knocking on her door. Couldn't watch an entire movie with her without her mom checking up on her or her calling her mom. I think this explains all the boy issues she has. She's an overly attached girlfriend with mommy-daddy issues. My freshman year roommate's parents would drive down to school every time their daughter didn't answer their calls. Made for a couple of awkward Friday nights. I heard a story like this on TV. The daughter eventually had to get a restraining order against her parents. They put keylogging software on her computer and cell phone and dropped in on her all the time. She was granted the restraining order, and they stopped paying her tuition, so the school gave her a full scholarship. I go to that school, and have heard all about it. Apparently the parents made the girl go to sleep with Skype on so they could check her and make sure no boys were in there. I heard a couple other things, but now, whenever I feel like my parents are being overbearing, I think on this. At least it's never so bad that I need a restraining order. I taught ESL to a bunch of high schoolers, many of which were at an SAT level. There was this one kid who was incredibly fluent and would write wonderful essays in my class. However, his mother wasn't satisfied. She forced him to write a 10,000-word essay every single day. Now, she had never learned a foreign language, didn't speak English. I don't think she even graduated from college. But she would, through her son and other translators, give me an earful on how I was being too easy on the students because I wasn't making them do 4 hours of homework a night. And this poor kid, this unfortunate 14-year-old bastard who was fluent in 2 languages and was ready to take the SATs in a language not his own, ended up getting worse and worse at writing. He would repeat things again and again just to get the word count, because his mother would check the essays every night. Well, she'd check the numbers. She wouldn't be able to read the paper. He would lie and make up stories, interjecting them at weird places. He did absolutely miserably in his exams because he wouldn't take my advice to stop writing when you've run out of things to say. I had a student a few years ago whose mom would email all his teachers every single day wanting to know what we had done in class. We have websites with class calendars on them. It got so bad that the school eventually told her that she could only email once a week. Later that year, the student turned in a research paper, and the first paragraph had been stolen word for word from a website. I printed out the web page, gave the kid a 0, and wrote a referral for cheating. Hours later, the mom emails me furious that I would accuse her son of cheating. I explained the situation, and she told me, "Oh, it wasn't his fault. He had been too busy to type it, so I did it for him. I wanted to spruce up the intro a little bit, so I added that little extra bit. I guess I forgot to add the source. Seems legit." I'm not a teacher, but I'm in high school and I directed some of the kids in my school's middle school division in a play of Treasure Island. One day, when we weren't allowed access into the theater, we did a rehearsal at the house of this girl, let's call her G. Her mother, let's call her invited us to come over, and at first I was wary as something always seemed a bit off about her, like she was always in an insane rush to get her daughter home after all of our regular rehearsals. But they had a very large house and I didn't want to give up the space, so I agreed to do the rehearsal there. Once we were there, Em politely greeted us, but G was holed up in her room. I asked if she could come and join us, but Em kept insisting we start the rehearsal without her. I explained to her that G was one of the most important parts of the play, and it would be hard to practice without her. But Em just kept saying that she had work to do and wasn't available. Finally, after about half an hour, G came out to meet us. But her crazy mother told us that she could only stay for 15 minutes, and then she had to go back to her work. G then turned to her mother and said, "I don't have any work." To which Em responded, "Yes you do, sweetie," in the most passive-aggressive way I've ever heard someone talk to their child. I decided to stay out of it, and we started rehearsing with her. I then opened my laptop to show them a video of what they did, but Em happened to be walking past at the time, and she ran over and slammed my laptop's lid down, shouting, "No media!" repeatedly, and then lifted it up and ran away with it somewhere. It was my computer, so I followed her and asked for it back, and she carefully explained that they were a no media family and that it's important that G isn't exposed to that. She then said that her daughter should get back to work anyway, but I said we needed 5 more minutes. When I got back to G, she said, "Isn't my mom so annoying?" And I wasn't sure how to respond, but G saw the uncertainty in my face and kept talking about her mother. It turned out that G wasn't allowed to watch TV, go on any computer, even listen to music on an iPod, just do her schoolwork and read books that had already been read by her parents. She was in 6th grade, so of course she didn't have that much work to do, but her mother would make her study her notes from the day every day, and would frequently make her do homework again as it wasn't long enough. G could have been getting straight A's with less than half of the work she had to do, so I told them that she shouldn't put so much pressure on her daughter, and she responded to that by kicking me out of the house. Her parents got divorced a year later and her father has full custody, and I couldn't be happier. Freshman year of college, my roommate's mother was a helicopter mom. To an extreme. We weren't friends, just roommates, but I heard stories from multiple people. One morning around 7 a.m. I hear a pounding on the door. I pull my ass out of bed and open it only to see her mother standing there looking beyond furious. Apparently she found out somehow that my roommate had been skipping one of her classes. She had driven 2 hours to show up at our door at 7 a.m. to scream at her 18-year-old daughter. She also yelled at me for a few minutes for not waking up my roommate, not telling her to go class. I left pretty quickly and spent the rest of the day hiding out in friends' dorm rooms. Should have told her that if she was a better mother, none of this would have happened. Do you have a similar story? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.